Another episode for you all. Cowboys Experience. I'm telling you, this is where you go get all of the ticket pricings and beyond. I'm talking about prices that you really won't see out there on the internet outside of www.cowboysexperience.com. That's where you can have meet and greet sessions as well as ticket pricing. And as you guys already know, we was talking a little bit about Big Game James and his birthday.
It's my birthday. It's
Yeah.
my birthday, but it's not a great birthday because we just lost to the Jets and we're on a 3-game losing streak. We got these Philadelphia Eagles getting ready to come in,
Uh-huh.
but just like I said, yeah. Well, what can you say? Like, what can you really say right now? This feels like it's just the same old thing right now. Me and you have talked about
Mm-hmm.
in last week's episode that watch out. We're not saying we're going to lose to the Jets, but we said be wary. You said
Mm-hmm.
17-13, so obviously you called a close game. I said 28-17, but the Cowboys wouldn't pull away until the second half. So we were both saying that this was going to be a tough game, and Cowboys going to probably play like we usually normally how they play. And guess what? They played like we thought they would play, and another game of mistakes. No bashing, but these things. I mean, this happened.
Yeah.
Michael Gallup had two big drops. We missed blocking assignments, missed assignments in the secondary, big time penalties when it was needed, questionable play calling when it's at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
game, and it's a theme. And
Mm-hmm.
you never say, well, you just always want to put on coaches because they're not outside, they're not out there on the field. The coaches are not out there on the field.
True.
You continue to see these same type of mistakes in critical situations where the Cowboys can take leads. When the Philadelphia Eagles just lost to Minnesota Vikings because it took a lead, this has been a maddening trend to me under the Jason Garrett regime.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and this is my analogy. James, you got kids, right?
Yeah.
And with kids, there comes great responsibilities and things like that. And especially in your household, if
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden you look at your light bill and you say, okay, it's cool for the first month, second month is cool, but all of a sudden, third month, you look at the bill, it's $400. Would the light company say, well, James, we need to charge your kid for this light bill? Or someone else is in the house, the guest or the company that was over, right? They
Mm-hmm.
won't do that. The
No.
bill is going to come in your name, Big Game James. So you are responsible for your lights. You are responsible for your electric bill. You are responsible for your water bill, gas, and anything else that you may pay. They're not going to look
Uh-huh.
to see if the kids are going to pay that bill. They're going to look for you. So what I'm trying to transpose all of this information over to Cowboys fans and beyond for those who are out there watching that heavy is the head of the person that's in charge of this particular team. And regardless of how you look at it, I know people can say, well, it's Jerry Jones' fault. But no, the head
Mm-hmm.
coach, it's his issue right now. This
Mm-hmm.
is his light bill that's being ran up, and he have to pay the price.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and then on top of that, you know for sure when you get those multiple light bills that's high all of a sudden, you're going to go to your kids and chastise them. Did you turn the light off? Did you turn the stove off? You see, did you stop the water faucet from dripping? It's up to you to go in and regulate these things. There's time out for 10 years into this thing, and we're still seeing errors and situations where these things need to be improved upon, which you can say, yeah, I give you a pass year 2. Yes, I can give you a pass year 3. But dog it, I'm trying to keep it PG-13 if you guys know what I mean. It's year 10. It's year 10. And Joe, shout out to you. He's Italy. Joe says we are beating ourselves. That's
But
coaching.
that's a common thing, though. See, that's the
Mm-hmm.
problem. See, that's what we're talking about. We are beating ourselves. We
Right.
talked about that thing with the Green Bay Packers. I mean, we got
Right.
in a hole. We still had timely penalties. We had bad plays against the New Orleans Saints. Timely penalties, bad plays, missed drop passes. I mean, it's been a theme. It's not like this is a first game, 1 game, 2 game thing. And even
Mm-hmm.
before, we've seen it in years past when Cowboys have needed to take. I mean, take for example, when Garrett had those 8-8 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
how many times did we have a game where we needed to win this game to kind of move ahead and kind of secure a playoff spot or get a possible wild card, and then we lose, and
Yeah.
then we win, and then we lose, and you know what I mean? It was inconsistent the whole time, and now you see the same things you're talking about. Not the same exact things, but you're talking about the inconsistencies. We've seen these penalties before. We've seen guys who don't have any kind of nothing come into Dallas, or we go play them and have career years against us. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, I don't want to jump on the bandwagon where everybody's saying the Cowboys were looking lethargic on the sidelines, and I don't need to have a rah-rah guy all the time.
Right.
But it just seems like, you're coming into New York. It's going to be hostile. Right. Sam Darnold is playing, and you have to give him respect. He was a number 1, number 2 draft pick in the NFL, so he has some kind of talent, and you saw the talent. And he's coming off a mono. They're going to be geeked up. So Cowboys, keep your eyes focused and focused. That's what the coaching staff is supposed to tell these guys. Focus, focus, focus. I'm not in that locker room, so I don't know if that's being said, but that's what has to be said. Focus. We cannot shoot ourselves in the foot. We had the last 2 games where this was happening to us. You see, this is a type of a trap game. We had to play our best, and we had to play smart football. And if we do not play smart football, something bad can happen. And as you see, Dallas didn't play smart football, and something bad happened. We go in and play an 0-4 team who only averaged 9.7 points a game, one of the worst teams in the league offensively, and then you have getting almost 400 yards total on us, and we obliterated them even on the defensive side. Dak threw for 277 yards. Zeke Elliott rushes for over 100. We had over 20-something first downs, big chunk plays. We still lose. That's just not good.
And since 1991, I don't know if this is an all the way accurate stat, but I've seen some people tweet this out. Since 1991, if you had those type of numbers leading in time of possession.
Yes, Bobby Belt tweeted that out.
Bobby Belt, he tweeted it out, leading in first downs. I think they had over 25 touchdowns or 25 first downs, like you said.
Yes.
Leading in all of those categories.
Time of possession.
The team is 90-0, but now it's 90-1.
90-1. And the Cowboys are that one team.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Can we be honest with ourselves?
Let's speak the real, man.
Can we be honest with ourselves? I mean, when you looked at that game, did you really feel like you were so confident in that game? Like Cowboy fans, did we really feel so confident in that game, or were we just hoping that the boys came out and did what they're supposed to do? And that's the problem that I have. The team is unpredictable week to week. I don't know what team is going to be there. A battle-tested team could be there in Philly, and then we go play a terrible team, and then you get what I'm saying? Just like we've talked about before, all playing down to the competition. So the problem is our team is too unpredictable, and I don't know where we're going now, because you're on a 3-game losing streak. You got the Philadelphia Eagles coming. You got Doug Peterson running his mouth talking trash, talking about he going to beat us and they're going to take care of first place right now. I ain't trying to hear all that. And why can't Garrett say, I know it ain't your MO, but it's okay to say it in a press conference. You know what? Hey, Jason Garrett, and I put this on my page, Jason Garrett, Doug Peterson from the Philadelphia Eagles, he said that they're coming in your house and they're going to beat you and take over first place. What's your thoughts on that? For one time, it's cool to say, you know what, that ain't happening.
That's not happening. Oh man,
that'd be great.
What did was it Jimmy who said put that in so many bold fonts on the newspaper? What did Jimmy say that? Help me out.
I don't know.
He said put that in 3-inch letters. Somebody in the chat box, help me out. He said put that in 3-inch letters on the newspaper or something like that. Sometimes great coaches, not good coaches, great coaches through the media. Bill Parcells mastered in that. And believe it or not, this guy Bill Belichick, he does it in certain small factors by not saying things but implying things. And you know what I'm talking about? And then of course, we know Jimmy Johnson used the media as a force of talking to players. I will never forget, and I forgot the guy's name, but the guy actually had asthma, and he was running out there on the field, and Jimmy Johnson said, why is this guy is not performing like everybody else? And they said, well, hold on, Jimmy. This guy got asthma. And he looked at them, and he looked at the guy that's told him, and he yelled out to the guy, the asthma bleep, 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 is on the other side of the field. It's over there. And he pointed pretty much to the stadium. You see what I'm saying? To the stands or what have you. Jimmy Johnson was a nonsense guy. You know what I'm saying? You can't play
Right.
around with him. Now, I'm looking at this previous game, and I do know that it happened to a lot of people. But dog it, if you are the head coach, there's no way in life. Not one of the players you mean to tell me not one of the players got a chance to touch his hands when he had his hands out for a hand clap or a handshake? How do you feel about that?
I mean, how do I really feel about it? I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, if I was a player, I mean, I just would do the same thing. Not disrespecting your coach, not even hating the coach. That's nothing. That's not hating the coach. That's just basically like, man, ain't nobody trying to smack your hand right now, dog. We getting our butts kicked by the Jets. They own 4. You know what? Them players are thinking those same type of things. You get what I'm saying? So ain't nobody trying to slap the coach's hand, and we down against the Jets and they 0-4. You feel me? Ain't nobody smacking your hand right now, dog. Nobody's doing that. You know what I mean? Because this shouldn't be a game, but we're down 24-16 against the 0-4 Jets. You know what I mean? They're 0-4 for a reason. You know what's gonna be funny? They're gonna play another team next week and get obliterated. That's what's going to be funny. They're going to play another team next week and get obliterated. And then it's just like, see, I just don't understand.
But it's right around the corner for them because they got to play the Patriots next. So,
well, I mean, okay, well, you get what I'm saying? So the obliteration is going to happen. It's around the corner.
Right.
But you know what I mean, Law? It's just like, these are the things that should not be happening in year 10. And it's not like you're going to be perfect. We've seen Belichick and his teams get blown out before. We've seen games that some of the top coaches get blown out. It does happen. But guess what? You ain't won nothing.
Yeah.
So you don't really got you get what I'm saying? These guys that have been to the playoffs and been to at least Super Bowls, they're going to have a little bit longer leash. Right. When you've been there this long and you haven't sniffed any of that and these same things are happening, people are going to go be more critical. That's just the way it is. I mean, you're basically like a Marvin Lewis. Nobody wants to keep throwing that comparison out, but it's like a Marvin Lewis because he had winning teams and they were getting to the playoffs, and you were just, if you're probably a Bengals fan, you were thinking, well, maybe this might happen this year because we got there last year. Maybe this might happen. But what happens? It's fool's gold. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, they get rid of Marvin Lewis, and now their team is terrible, but they were already losing talent anyway. This is a situation where if Garrett were not to be there, it's not like the next coach that comes in, if it does happen, he's going to look at the talent and say, there's nothing there. The only problem is with everything with this is that when you look at coaches that if Jason Garrett is not there, what kind of coach is really going to be there under Jerry Jones?
Yeah,
because
that's the 5,000-pound gorilla that's in there.
That's what it is, because he's not going to be able to pick his own staff.
Right.
Jerry Jones is going to pick that staff, right? Because that's what he's always done. So he may still keep Kellen Moore or blah, blah, blah. So then, what kind of coach is really going to be there? A real coach that can say, no, you can't do this, or a person who's kind of like a yes man that, oh, you ain't really got no super authority because he's over top of you. And we all know he makes the last decision.
Right. He is the end all be all as it relates to decisions. Now, just to shine a little light or spin a little light to this situation, Cowboy Nation, because I do know that we can be, and we're not complaining. We just explaining. We're explaining. We're not complaining. We're not saying that we're going to rip apart all of the Cowboys apparel and we're going to go run and cry under the bridge, or we're not going to show up to the games. We're going to still show up to the games. Like I said earlier, you was a fan. You was a fan of the Cowboys before Jerry Jones, before you knew who Jason Garrett was, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and me as well. We were diehard Cowboy fans before we knew who this guy is. He might have bought the team financially, but emotionally, we own just as much to be upset and angry. So that's what gets me a lot of times by a couple of fans. You say, oh, man, you shouldn't be mad. You shouldn't be upset. But no, we invested our emotions into this team. We got to showcase them somehow, one way or another. We can't run out there on the field. We're not in the locker room. But to shed a little light, we are still number one in our division. We've got 2 divisional games. We're 2-0 within our division. The division is very, very, very easy at this point because nobody's just running off with the plug with it, as they say, right? So this game is very crucial that we got to play against those filthy, definitely Eagles. I can't even say the name Philly because this is how I look at the filthy. It's just we going to play against them. Just like last year when everybody thought that, hey, we finna play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember that team? Because at that time it was still a prominent team before we got a chance to play them as far as on the defensive side of the ball. All of a sudden, we showed the world something. Just maybe, hopefully, Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett can get their minds together, get this team very, very ready and pumped up to play against this Philadelphia Eagles game. That's just the only thing I can see. That's the only thing I can see, man.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to because they have no choice. I mean, backs against the wall. You're on a 3-game losing streak. You're at home. You're at home against a division rival for first place.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's not all the stakes are on the line because the season's not over. But this is another big stake because, number one, you've already lost 2 NFC games. You won 2 NFC games. You lost 2 NFC games. Okay? If you lose to the Eagles, that's a loss in the division. And that's another loss in the NFC. True. Those losses add up. We've seen it time and time again with the Cowboys that we don't take care of business with NFC teams. We lose games that we should have won and then come down at the end of the season when we're close or the race is close, they get a tiebreaker. Why? Because they beat us in week 2. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That just happens. So we have to take care of business to get these Eagles. Players got to step up. So I'm going to ask you, we're talking about players right now. What do you think about this offensive line? I mean, is La'el Collins, have you heard anything about the injury report right now? Because La'el Collins, Tyron Smith, they were out last week. Dallas only gave up 1 sack. So it wasn't like, they played terrible. But, man, was he taking shots that game. Like, Dak Prescott was taking shots that game in that Jets game. I was surprised he got up and finished that game, the hits that he was taking, because they was right wide open body. What do you think about this offensive line going forward? I mean, yeah, Ezekiel Elliott got 100 yards rushing, but it just looks like when it's the big plays that we need to get big blocks, the line doesn't do it. What's going on?
Here's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. It's more so to do with philosophy and stubbornness. You got to understand that, although he only gave up 1 sack, that stat looks good on paper. But when you look up pressure, when you look at contacts, when you look up hits, and most of the hits were coming from was the blind side. Believe it or not, you got the weakest blind side, I believe, in the National Football League. Number 52 and 75. That combination on the left side, and the quarterback can't see on that side of the field, you see. And, of course, it negates the problem. It adds the problem that Ezekiel Elliott don't have the burst nor the vision that we've seen in the first couple of years. I know a lot of people are going to give me hate mail on that, but the reality of it is that Ezekiel Elliott looks lethargic, he looks chubby, and he doesn't look like he can get the separation. He looks like Emmitt Smith in 97, 98, maybe 99 type of era, you see. Now, here's the thing. How can they put a Band-Aid on the bullet wound? Of course, Tyron Smith, he's been working the courts and things like that. He looks like he's going to be ready for this game. We can only hope and pray that. But I was looking at it from these angles. The Cowboys should have kicked your guy, Connor Williams, as left tackle. At least you have somebody with some technique because he don't have the power to play inside. Move Joe Looney as the left guard. You know that he got a little strength. We saw him all last year. And then if anybody –
he played guard.
And he played guard. He can play guard center. That's why he's versatile. He's stronger. Put it like this. If I got to fight somebody, if I got to go up to a fight right now and I got a choice between Connor and Looney, give me the Looney. Give me Looney. At least I got a fighting chance if I know for sure if it's going to be a tussle, you say. But the Cowboys needed to do that. They needed to kick Connor Williams as the left tackle. He don't have the strength, but he does have good hips. He can redirect. He got quick hands. He got all of those good things as it relates to playing tackle. But power, he just don't have it. And then on top of that,
but see, you know what? Not
me.
even to cut you off, Law. I'm just flowing with you on that. The thing is, like we was talking about a couple weeks before, but he's a high draft pick. They're not going to sit him behind a Tyron Smith because he's a second-round draft pick, and they're like, he can't be sitting the bench because we invested money in him. He's a high pick. But on the other side of the coin, you got Tristan Hill's a second-round pick. He's not smelling the field.
He's not even smelling the field, and this is the thing. Tristan Hill, we love his get off, we love his burst, and then on top of that, we have to have a little patience. But he's the exact same replicate of what Connor Williams. He's not strong. And we need a true defensive tackle. You see, and here's the thing.
Now Tyrone Crawford's out.
Tyrone Crawford's out for the year.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to poke fun because we all going to have to get there. When you get old, the worst thing that can go out on you is your hips. Once your hips get bad, those hip pointers and things like that, it's over. You got to have good hips in the NFL. Dexterity, turn, chase, block, move. You look, the best shape that you can ever be in, Cowboy Nation, and people that's watching this channel, is your core. And your core and your hips are the things that makes your core turns, basically. Keep everything in balance. That's why you say, do he have good hips? Can he turn? Can he flip? Can he get upfield? When they go out, it's going to be trouble, and especially at his age, at his time that he's been playing in the National Football League. Now, he's strong like an ox, and the problem was with him, he didn't have any bend. We knew that watching his tape coming out of Boise. All right, so, and you know what the craziest thing about this big game, James?
What's up?
I would rather elevate Daniel Wise before I elevate Tristan Hill. Let that sink in.
And I mean, but then and then you're gonna start hearing that bus label with Tristan Hill. So it's kind of crazy, you know, for everybody that's held. I'm Willie McClay, and this isn't even a saying, oh, these guys are messing up. No, it's not that. It's just, hey, he's just not ready, and that just happens in the league. But right now, we need guys that are ready. You know, I said Tyrone Crawford. I didn't think he was a big deal. I still think we got guys, like you see, can elevate a Daniel Wise, even though he is a rookie. He does have a good motor. The only problem is he's undersized. He's only about 285 pounds. That's the problem. Antoine Woods is 300. Okay, yeah. Tristan Hill is 305, but he's not a strong 305.
We got no 330s, baby.
We don't got no 330s. So you got our biggest guy right now will be Covington in the middle, as far as size-wise. And guess what? He gets run down, and we get pushed around, and people know that middle is not big, and it's soft. And if you scheme it right, you can get yards, and you just have to be patient. So Dallas just has to really figure it out. They got to do a heart check, a gut check, and just kind of figure it out. I want to ask you a few things on the offensive side of the ball. We did have some guys that, to me, made me feel good, at least on the offensive side, because obviously we had Amari Cooper go out the game, which hurt us big time. You know, I thought Gallup was really going to take that next step in this game, you know, but, you know, he still played okay, had a couple drops, but that's what it is. Nobody's perfect. Got to bounce back, and I think he will. But I think Tavon Austin, who I've been kind of on this year because he's always been hurt, hasn't really been able to produce. He had like 5 catches that game. He looked okay. And a guy who I really would say I'll give big ups to would be Cedric Wilson. He was a gentleman that we all talked about, you know, what's Cedric Wilson going to look like? What's Cedric Wilson look like? He's been inactive. So for him to come in, I believe he had 5 catches as well. So for him to come in, he was making some big catches. And I don't think that was a bogus pass interference call on him. And I think that altered the game because obviously we go in and we score that. It's 21-13 with 4 minutes left in the game. I think it's a different game then because then we still, you know, we don't get the field goal. We miss the field goal, and that moves more time off the clock. So that was a huge play, but I'm not blaming Cedric Wilson. I just think that's a bogus call. But I'm going to give a shout-out to Cedric Wilson as well. I think he played well. And I'm going to still give Dak Prescott. I'm not saying that he didn't play uneven, but I don't think he played a terrible game. If you look at that game, he was completing third down passes that we needed, and the receiving core was down. Really didn't have great reception separation from the guys that he had. So he was still making do and getting us downfield. So even though we lost that game, he still brought us all the way back to the verge of tying the game and at least taking it possibly to overtime if it didn't get the 2-point conversion stop. So I'm going to still give him props for battling back and still playing and not having a terrible game like everybody tried to throw it on him. I definitely don't think it was that. But those are my kind of offensive guys that stood out. Of course, Ezekiel Elliott got going in that second half. He looked better in that second half, more explosive in that second half. A little bit of running lanes were opening up for him. But those guys kind of stood out in my eye as an offensive side. What about you?
I will say that Dak Prescott did, you know, manage the game pretty well. It's just that I think that what Dak Prescott needs to do, or the offensive coordinator, I think they need to have a set of plays where they say, okay, kind of like West Coast offense. I wouldn't be mad if they can install some West Coast offense, meaning that, hey, these little short dump off dink passes. Even if you look at the 4th and 2 play that we didn't get, and they did the quarterback, I guess, sweep to the left with
Right.
I guess you wanted to say Ezekiel. It would have been the lead blocker and Jason Witten. I would love that. I would love for that play to be a design smoke screen to the right side, to the strong side.
Exactly, or a boot leg,
or give your quarterback more opportunities. I'm thinking that my game plan would be this: I would have some 5 or maybe not necessarily 5, 3 to 4 plays of warm-up plays for Dak Prescott. It don't have to be deep. It'll just be a little design dump-off passes. Because if you look at it, when Dak Prescott do the dump-off passes, they are not by design. They are like, I go through my progressions, I don't see anywhere I can fit the ball, and I look down to my check down, which is 9 times out of 10 is Ezekiel Elliott or reliable. So I just look at it, this team just needs to start focusing on that small part of their offense, just that. Maybe do it for a week or so and say, okay, Dak Prescott, these are going to be the installments to get you warmed up, just like they did with Sam Darnold, just like they did with Teddy Bridgewater, and just like they did with the other quarterback that we saw, Aaron Rodgers. They didn't galvanize us like that deep, but they just kind of methodically warmed up before they gave us one deep pass. And, of course, Sam Darnold was able to connect on a deep pass that Cheeto was covering. But we would love for that. We would still love for the safety to get over the top. And I'm not throwing any salt or shade at Jeff Heath, but we would love for the safety to get over the top as well to protect your guy on the back end.
Yeah, so let me ask you about this defensive effort. You have Sam Darnold, who came back off of mono, missing the last 3 games. I told everybody to be careful of him because he is a legit quarterback to me. I think he's going to be a good quarterback in this league. Not going to say great, but I definitely think he's going to be good if they definitely get some more players around him as well.
Right.
But I said, watch out for this dude because he's not like the Falk kid because he was not agile in the pocket at all. He couldn't really run out the pocket, and he didn't have the arm that Darnold has as well. So what do you kind of think about this defense? I mean, the defense hasn't been bad. It's not like the ranking has been bad. I believe it was like 9th in the rush and 13th in the rush and 9th in the pass. Not terrible numbers. Overall, I believe it was ranked 6th. But just hasn't been dominating. It doesn't look like it was the team or the defense that it was last year in better performances. So what do you kind of think of the defense performance in this game and going beyond? What do you think to expect, especially when you have Tyrone Crawford out now? What do you think that does with this lineup?
Well, I look at it in these parameters. The defense is not a stingy defense. We don't get turnovers. We don't get a lot of takeaways. We don't force those things. It's a solid bend but don't break type of defense. And a lot of people getting mad at Chris Richard at his particular defense. But really, like we said last week, this is proper Rob Marinelli's cover 2 scheme, Tampa 2 scheme, or however you want to call it, the old high school pro-style football scheme. Look, quarterbacks, by the time they played the Dallas Cowboys, they'd have seen different variations of this cover 2 since middle school. It's nothing different. It's nothing unique to the imagination. I mean, I'm talking about some people in the chat right now can sit back and say, okay, if I have a pocket that's clean enough, I can probably pass the ball on the Dallas Cowboys. Because that's just the reality of it. Now, when we start talking about the individual players on this team, like the D-Laws, yes, he's getting double. Yes, he's getting triple team. And that's just the price of doing business. When you get paid that high, Khalil Mack.
You become a target.
You become a target. I don't think Khalil Mack, Devon Millers of the world, whoever dominated in that particular fashion are complaining about double and triple teams. Meaning that if he's getting double team and triple team, now it's time to scheme. Now it's time to figure out ways for Malik Collins to eat. Now it's time for the other guys, the inside guys, to eat. And of course, Cobra Quinn, he's doing his thing, but the way he plays on that side of the football field, man, that right side, he gonna line up wide. And normally that's the weak side. Man, he's coming from off the blind, so teams can't, I guess what you call it, compromise their offense by keeping two tight ends in the backfield or two running backs in the backfield or what have you to block both sides. So I'm thinking that they looking at it like, look, at least we can block D-Law because we know that he like to talk in these sorts.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about our linebackers right now? What do you think about Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch? What do you think about their performance in that Jets game? I didn't think it was a terrible performance, but I still see a few plays where they were getting washed. Still got to watch some more tape. But what do you kind of think about them? And, did they kind of smell themselves a little too much or, underplaying? What's going on? Because I'm looking right here. Van Der Esch had 10 tackles that game.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Smith is one of the leading tacklers in the league. He actually only had 3 tackles that game. Disappointing performance right there. But what do you kind of think about those guys? And also, when are we going to see some more Jordan Lewis? He gets in the game and he's the leading receiver and leading interceptor on the defense by not even playing. I know Anthony Brown had a little bit of injury. That's why you saw him come in there. But come on, man. We're not saying Jordan Lewis is perfect, but it's obvious he's a playmaker. And if you have playmakers and you need a playmaker right now on the defense to life, and as I said before, Law, when I was telling you about Jordan Lewis, he brings fire. Did you see that passion?
Right.
Did you see his passion?
Yeah.
Did you see his fire on the field? That's what we want. How many times do we really see? I mean, I see Jalen Smith and those guys get up, but I ain't seen no wolf calls. It's like we real quiet this year. Come on, get out there and yell. We knock a big play. Come on, slap your guys up. We got to get up because this season ain't over. We're 3-3. The season ain't over, but by golly, consistency is the key word up in here.
Yes, consistency is everything. And we need playmakers, somebody that can fight and fly out to the ball, and that's what Jordan Hip Pocket Lewis can do. My thing is with Anthony Brown, we love him. He's a solid player. He's showing that he can tackle and do all of those things better than what we had out there previously. But what we got to do and understand, Cowboy Nation, we cannot fall in love with comfort. It's just what it is. He's comfortable. He's too comfortable. And when you put in somebody like a Jordan Lewis and all of a sudden he gets an interception because of a misread by the quarterback, that let me know that he's a playmaker. And what's the problem is, like I said with his team, is we don't have enough of them. We love Xavier Woods. We love Jeff Heath. But the reality of it, and I'm not throwing any salt or shade at those guys, the reality of it is that, yeah, they can occasionally make plays, but on a consistent level, we just don't have enough for us to be a dominant team in those factors. And that's just the reality of it. And I'm trying to keep it PG-13, if you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, right now, can you honestly say we're just a really average team right now? I mean, when you look at it across the board, I think we got a good offense still. But obviously you got guys that are injured. Amari Cooper is doubtful for playing against this Eagles game. We got to see what's going on with Randall Cobb because he had the back injury. We're going to see what he is. So obviously you're going to have to elevate Devin Smith, which was puzzling to me in that Jets game that Devin Smith was inactive. I really thought Devin Smith was going to be active that game, so it surprised me that he wasn't. And I think we kind of paid for it by him not being in that active. But guys really have to step up because if you look at our defense right now, Law, I mean, it looks average. We don't have anybody dominating on the defensive line. Robert Quinn has looked obviously lights out, but we haven't been a team that has put constant pressure on quarterbacks. And because we haven't been able to put constant pressure, and even our blitzes have been getting stopped, and those guys are getting in one-on-one situations, it's showing that our cornerbacks aren't great. And big passes are being made. I mean, come on. Sam Darnold we just scored 21-16. All we needed was a stop.
Right.
we need a stop on an 0-4 team. And they take it right down the field and get a field goal on us. And with pass plays, they're passing on first, second down, killing us over the middle. Those are the things that are killing us and have to stop. If the Cowboys are trying to be a playoff team, it's got to start against these Eagles. It's got to start now.
Yes, it got to start now. We got to start doing this. Not just saying that we do what we do best and saying that, okay, if we execute all of our plays and everything else will be sunshines and rainbows. We got to start scheming. We got to start taking away what the opposition does best and maximize what we do best in those parameters. And when we play against the Philadelphia Eagles, we know for sure that you can't get Carson Wentz down easily. I've seen some pass rushers to get out to him, and then he just slippery like a BB. He finds ways to get out.
He's not a
Now,
small dude either.
yeah, he's not a small guy either, and he's always going to look down the field, and he can kill you with his legs. And then just talking about the Eagles, looking at what they do best, they scout. They do. They made it to the Super Bowl not just by laying it down and saying, okay, let's close up the tent, let's close up everything because our quarterback is down. No, they got a coach that's come from the Andy Reid system, and also with the Andy Reid system that came from what the old school 49ers system, West Coast offense, all of those things that we just been preaching on. They are a pass happy team, but also understanding that, hey, when it's time for us to run, we can run the rock. And a lot of people thinking that it's fly, Eagles, fly. No, it's run, Eagles, run. They're going to run, set up the play action, and then try to kill you deep with whoever they got in the backfield. Was it an Aguilar of the world?
Aguilar, I don't know if Deshaun Jackson is going to be playing because I know he's
Thank
had an
God
injury.
he's not out there.
Yeah, we don't because he's been a killer to us and been a thorn in our side for so long. So
right,
and especially with that speed, and I wonder who's going to guard him. But let me give a few shout-outs here, Law. Everybody's kind of been tuning in. What's up, Jay Reed? How you been doing, dog? Good to see you again. Floyd Hope Jr., Coward Mack, Jaquez, Mikel Sr., Robert Cherry. What's up with you, big dog? Good to see you, Joe Tranchino, as usual. Boo Thing, how you doing? Carrie Teagle, what's going on? Mark Scott. Whole bunch of other people because I went out of my feed and I came back in. So there's probably a lot of people that I missed right now. KG, I know was in here, so I apologize if I missed any names. Shout outs to you, but I think Jay Reed had a question right quick for his Law. He asked what we thought about Cheeto.
Okay.
Now I know you already had your thoughts about Cheeto because you said that he's just not physical enough. That and he gives guys too much of a free release. There was a touchdown that was given up, but whose fault really was that? Was it the coverage, or you had your safety that was back there and he was nowhere to be seen, and he's coming in there late taking a bad angle? But overall, what is your thoughts about Cheeto this season?
Yeah, Cheeto, he's not a shutdown corner, right? I'm just gonna put that out there on the shelf. He's not a shutdown corner. Is he a solid guy? Yes. Now, is he a guy that you just gonna pick on all day because of his techniques? You can try to say that because you got Byron Jones on the other end who's just freakishly athletic, and you really don't want to try that pass or try that throw. Here's the thing: off of that big play, Cheeto, he walked up to the receiver. And I thought, yeah, this is the time we finna get some jam action.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought it. I was like, look, hey, this is finna get some jam action. He's gonna have the safety over the top, but they had single high safety, and they had two wide receivers on the opposite side. So I'm thinking when I look back at it, and I'm gonna put the film out there, hopefully sometime today if I find time. You will see that Jeff Heath was rolling or shading to that side of the field, meaning that he left Cheeto one-on-one on an island by himself. Cheeto, he came down into the box or came down close to the receiver and close to the LOS. I thought he was going to be a jam. He backpedaled right before the quarterback snapped the ball, and the rest was history. That guy, number 11, the way he flipped his hips and turned back inside of the field, and it was nothing but daylight. Him in the field, him in the end zone, red zone, money zone. That was the only thing that can stop him. Now, in order for Jeff Heath to bat that ball down, I think he would have to at least cover, 30, maybe 40 yards on that play. Jeff Heath is still a 4-3 guy, 4-4 guy. But in that time, in that situation, the way Sam Darnold, he put a good touch on it. He led the receiver. The ball came out great. There was no pressure on him to throw the ball. He got us snipping. He got us slipping. We was in run defense, basically. We can probably say that. And Cheeto just got burned.
Well, I'm gonna just say my thoughts about Cheeto. It really don't matter because we don't have nobody that's taking his spot. Right. We don't have nobody that's going to put him in his spot, so he's going to still be starting. I don't think he's been playing terrible. We all know about him not turning his head. We know about Anthony Brown not turning his head. I don't know if Chris Richard teaches turning the head. I think that's one of the reasons why he likes having. I think that's one of the reasons why he likes having cornerbacks with them long arms. So if they don't turn the head and they put their arms out, they can just bat the pass and knock the ball. That's why he don't want to have shorter guys because they don't tend to have longer arms. So if you're a shorter guy and you're trying to get around a bigger receiver and you put your hand out, you're not going to knock down or bat down that pass. So I'm thinking that's why he likes the longer, limbered arm defenders. But as I said before, I don't think Cheetah has played terrible. He's given up some plays. I mean, guys are going to pick on him because they don't tend to go after Byron Jones. So he is going to get attacked. I think he is going to give up plays. He may make a play here and there, but I think he can get the ball down the field on Cheeto. You get what I'm saying? I just think it can happen. I mean, it is what it is with Cheeto because, as I said before, he's not getting benched because who's going to come in his spot? Yeah. He's not going to start Jordan Lewis. That's not happening.
In a perfect world, big game.
In a perfect world, yeah, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
he's barely playing now, and he can't play over Anthony Brown. So how in the hell will we even, excuse my language, how will we even see him starting? So it is what it is. So basically, we're stuck with what it is, and guys had to step up. I started out my season. When I did my season, I talked about the whole team. I said the weaker link, what I thought would be our secondary, even though we had not Jeff Heath, but Byron Jones is our all-world corner. I still thought that, yeah, we won't give up big plays, but you can throw the ball on us. I said that before, that you could throw the ball on us. And if we don't get the constant pressure from that front line, we're going to struggle on that back end because we don't have a lot of playmakers back there that can make plays on the ball. Thus, you get guys that are just going to be there right there when the ball is hitting the receiver's hands. So good coverage, but the guy gets 10 yards on the first down.
Yes, indeed. And then on top of that, I believe, James, with this particular style of defense, it decrees that we have to play with a lead in order for you to see this defense shine. If we got to play with a lead. And then on top of that, what used to help this defense out is the time of possession. I do know we won the time of possession this game, but I'm thinking that Ezekiel Elliott, remember, go back to my old films and go back to anything that I was talking about, that Ezekiel Elliott helps out the defense because of the way he run and get first downs. But what we're seeing is that diminishing rates of return, we're not getting the same. Of course, I do know it was 100 yards or what have you, but we're not still getting that same spark action that we used to get from Ezekiel Elliott from last year and the year before that and in his rookie year. Let's be real. I'm thinking that right now and this is not us just hating on the Cowboys and talking bad about them, but I'm thinking that they're underutilizing Tony Pollard. They are.
We know that. Yeah. I mean, you got a playmaker who you drafted in the 4th round. You got to play this guy. I mean, you got to find ways to get him the ball. You have to find ways. And then even in that Jets game when he came in, he had a couple runs. I think one of his first runs was for 10 yards right up the gut. I mean, the guy can run hard. He can run up the middle. Use him as a receiver. Throw screens. We're not even throwing screens. How many screens did we throw? Maybe one screen in that whole game. What? We got guys that can play the screen game, and we still stay away from it. It just seems like, you hear other people in the whispers out there that Jason Garrett tends not calling the plays, but he tends to kind of take over. I don't know if this is happening, but that carefree, explosive offense that you saw before is now looking like that same kind of Linehan-ish, boring-ish kind of offense. And I'm not even going after Kellen Moore because I like Kellen Moore. Right. But I just feel like you can kind of see it. You know what I mean? It's getting predictable how they're kind of going. So, but you play the Giants, you play the Redskins, and you play the Dolphins. And those teams just aren't that good. And now you played some quality teams, not counting the Jets, and things are being exposed. So, like I said, big dog, we got Philly this week. Mm-hmm. It's got to be some gut checking. Got to be some.
It got to be some scouting. It got to be.
Got to be some scouting.
Yeah.
We got to play. We got to coach a good game. You know what I'm saying? This is a game
you know what's alarming to me? Believe it or not, James. When I heard Ezekiel Elliott say that, hey, last week I didn't even know what the Jets' record was. You see, I didn't know that they was 0-4 or what have you. I just pay attention to what we need to do, and if I think that we execute, then we will become better. I do know that players should be able to get into a zone and get into a focused mindset, but dog it, you got to at least – I want to know everything about my opposition. I want to know how many points they score a game. I want to know what their record is. I want to know what the quality of defense they're going to put out there to stop me. I want to know the tendencies and the tenacity of how they like to shoot a gap on a certain situation. I'm trying to find every competitive edge. I want to look back at tape for this week, and I want to look at how Cook was able to cook up the Eagles. I want to see how this rookie from Boise, what was his name, Madison or something like that? Mm-hmm. He was hurdling over guys on the Eagles team. I want to look at their tape. I want to see if I'm the coach, I'm studying, I'm watching film right now, and I'm calling players in and say, hey, you look at this. This is what they did on 3 and 10. It was 15 minutes left on the clock or what have you. Or It was 14 minutes or 3 minutes left on the clock, and this is what happened when he bounced to the outside. This is the position that the defensive back was in. This is how he was shading the outer boundary side. This is what we need to do, and I'm not saying that the Cowboys are not doing it, but I want to have my players to be cognitive enough to understand enough that if you don't know anything and everything about your opposition, then there's a chance and a possibility that you will not win on a certain key moment. Because anytime I can tell you guys this right quick, a lot of people think that it's a multiple plays that counts when that wins you a game. But if you really look at it, we can go back to the last 3 games. It boils down to sometimes 1 or 2 plays. That's it. 1 or 2 plays. The 4th and 2 play that we didn't get. All of a sudden, the opposition got the ball. They went 92 yards the other way. That's a 10-point swing. Yeah.
Big swing.
Huge swing. Yeah, huge swing, because we could at least kick the field goal, or if we were scouted right, and if we can figure out, okay, the tendencies of the guys and when they playing on 4th down. We know for sure this is a 0-14. They're not all the way disciplined. They're trying to shoot the gap. They're trying to do something to cause the quarterback to be disarray. Well, I would love for us to do hard count, hut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I definitely feel you on that, because here's the thing. Greg Williams is their defensive coordinator. What is Greg Williams known for? Blitz, and more blitz. Greg Williams is going to throw the kitchen sink. Greg Williams blitzes in preseason. You get what I'm saying? So that is his MO. So like you said, hard count, get these guys who are over aggressive at the line of scrimmage, because they're coming and he's bringing the heat, because he's looking at, okay, Amari Cooper's not in the game now. All they got Michael Gallup, Tavon Austin, and Cedric Wilson. Yeah, blitz. You know what I'm saying? So if you know that, you got to readjust and make plays that when you see that to kind of counteract that. But it is what it is. Another loss in the book, a 3-game losing streak. Eagles coming into town. What do you think, Law? What are some of your keys to the game with these Philadelphia Eagles? Because once again, they're 3-3 as well. They haven't looked impressive, but they did go into Green Bay and beat the Packers. And they're not a bad team to me. I just feel like, you know what, they just haven't played their best football as well. Obviously their secondary is not the greatest. Defensive line is pretty good. But when you look at this game, this is a game that the Cowboys can definitely win. But what are some of your keys what are your keys for the Cowboys to win this game?
Yeah, we have to show the Eagles something. We got to score early and often. We got to get turnovers and takeaways. And I know this is going to seem like the same preaching that we always put out there. We got to play a polished game. We can't give the Eagles life. They're going to come in ready to prove to the world that they are better than the Dallas Cowboys. I recall when they beat the Green Bay Packers. They was yelling, the fans was yelling, Dallas sucks. Dallas suck. And we were 3-0 at the time before that time frame. I think we was 2-0 or something like that. And they was more worried about us then than it is for us to be playing them now. So what I'm saying is that, and I know that there's a collective fan base, but some of this stuff trickles down to the players. I never like the fact that we don't pay attention to the media. The players do. They do. But what I'm trying to say is that they're going to be prepared. Regardless of how we look at it, they're going to be ready. They're going to give us their best game. In order for us to beat the Eagles, and this is a no-excuse business, we got to be ready to answer their calling. It's a home game. We should finally have our white jerseys on, and hopefully we put some money on the board early and often, and we get this W. That's how we get this win. Score early.
Yeah, score early and play smart football. I think that's one of the biggest things to me. What has befallen us? I mean, obviously, you might have Amari Cooper not playing this game. You're going to see what the situation is with Randall Cobb. So, obviously, you may be depleted on that side of the ball. Obviously, they don't have the best secondary. So, get Tony Pollard in the game. Throw some short, quick passes to Tony Pollard. Get him out in space. Mix it up. Keep him off balance, but keep attacking. You know what I mean? I think that's the key word. Let's not get conservative. Keep attacking. Dump offs. Like I said, we haven't seen any screen passes. We need to see more of those, especially either Ezekiel Elliott or Tony Pollard in there. That opens up the offense. You know, he stresses that defense a little bit, give Dak Prescott some more time, because the last couple of games he's been taking some hits. Green Bay, he's been taking hits, and in his Jet game, he's been taking some shots. And you
Mm-hmm.
know the Philadelphia Eagles are going to blitz him and come after him. So you know the blitz is going to be coming hot and heavy because Philadelphia is going to be looking at who we have on that receiving core. And if they don't feel like there's somebody that they're going to respect, they're bringing the heat. So the Cowboys are going to have to figure a way to counteract that, screen passes, quick dump offs, something like that to counteract the aggressiveness from I feel what's going to happen with that Philly defense, especially if we have injuries on that front. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think we definitely have to stop that run. I mean, at all costs. Jordan Howard is over there. He had a couple of, what you've seen what he did against the Green Bay Packers. We've seen what he's done his rookie year when he was at the Bears. So he's a legitimate running back. Carson Wentz, people can talk they want about him. I don't like him because he plays the Eagles, but he's still a good quarterback.
True.
So at the end of the day, he can make plays with his feet or his arm. So the Cowboys have to make sure they keep him in that pocket. Don't let him scramble, get out of that pocket, and beat them downfield on some big plays. Have to eliminate the big plays and wrap up. Guys have to tackle out there. Guys can't continue to miss tackles, miss big tackles, and make plays. And guess what? You got to get them off on third down. That's another big thing with the Cowboys. Get them off on third down because they're having these drives. When the Jets had the first touchdown, that was a 14-play drive on our defense. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So the defense is already struggling with injuries. It can't stay on the field all game. So the Cowboys are going to have to make some plays on that defensive side of the ball. And as you said, we need some turnovers. The quick turnovers, better field position, score quick, and then you put the pressure on the offense.
Yes, indeed, man. That's words of wisdom right there. Shout out to you, Kerry Teagle, and shout out to you, Matt. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hey, we still got to support this team regardless, Cowboy Nation. We got a big event this weekend at Lava Cantina at 2 o'clock. Well, 2 o'clock to about around 4 o'clock. We want you guys to not just meet me there, beat me there. We should have Joe Looney. We have a mystery guest out there. And as well, we will have Cheeto Awuzie. And we're working on another player right now as we guys watching this thing right now. As you guys watching this thing right now. So just give us some time, and we'll let you know who's the third person. But we will have a mystery guest. And put it like this. He was a key component in winning a game against the Eagles. So we brought him on board for this particular weekend, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see you all this weekend. Big Game James, you got anything that's left on your mental that you want to put out there to the atmosphere?
Not anything too much. Just put in the atmosphere.
Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday, Big Game James. Happy birthday to you, Casey JoJo.
Hey man,
y'all
you
get
need
his
to
man
sing.
some
Yeah,
birthdays.
you need to sing, dog, because you was killing it right there. You need to sing.
Oh,
But appreciate that, big dog. Thank you very much. Only thing I can really put in the atmosphere, you know what I'm saying? Like another year. Been awesome. It's a beautiful thing to be able to see another year, get to see my kids, my girl, my life, everything. So I can't complain about it. It's been a beautiful ride, even doing this media thing, meeting you, meeting all the outstanding people I met in this ride so far in this 2 years. So it's been awesome. But I think the biggest thing I want to put in the air right now is heart. Gut checks. What are we going to do? I mean, can the Cowboys look in the mirror and say, "Oh, we're tired of being this inconsistent team. We're tired of everybody just running their mouths about us." I mean, it ain't about the people on the outside, but come on, man. We got this talent, and we're still just as talented as a lot of the other teams in this NFC, and we have to make a move, and we can't continue to be inconsistent. I said our problem is we're consistently inconsistent,
right,
and that's our problem. We have to stop getting in our own way. So please, Cowboys, play smart football. Okay, it's not just against the Philadelphia Eagles. Even if you're playing a lesser opponent, play smart football, because those are the games. Just like you said, it could be one or two plays could change the whole game, and then you come out of there losing that game because you didn't play smart football. And I think that's the biggest thing that's not happening with the Cowboys right now is we're not playing smart football on both sides of the ball. Even I wanted to talk about this right quick. When the Jets had that long drive, when Sam Darnold was about to he rushed it. It was like a third down and third and goal. They were on the 15, 16-yard line. He breaks the pocket, right? You got Malik. This is what I'm talking about. Discipline, smart football, shooting smart football. Sam Darnold breaks out. Malik Collins is already beat. Why do you horse collar him? And Vander Esch and Jeff Heath are already right there at the 3-yard line to meet him. You understand what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not smart football because guess what? You stopped them and they were just going to get a field goal, right? But
Right.
now because you got the personal foul, you get them a first down, they score a touchdown, it changes the game. That's what I'm talking about with smart football. You
Mm.
can't make them type of plays, especially if you're not playing winning football right now. Now you have to even be more on your toes because you're playing losing football. And if you continue to let those little cracks increase, thus when those losing streaks become longer and longer and longer. And those mental errors become more prevalent when you're having losing streaks. Are they not?
Oh yeah, yeah. They get it's the small things, and we. I just got to put this out there, and our closing statements. How long we been live? Like 95. I don't have the time clicker.
We've been about a little over an hour. About an hour. We've
Okay,
been
okay,
about an
cool,
hour.
cool, cool, cool. I just want to say this. A lot of people think that we have to have a coach that's just barking and parading all on the sideline. But no. Sometimes I had a quiet coach before. That stare. Big Game James, you know about that stare, don't you?
Yeah, I know about the
That,
stare.
that, that, that stare. Like when
I
you
know
mess
about the
up,
stare.
you make it, when you boo boo out there on the field, sometimes that coach can just stare at you. It's like that's worse than sometimes barking and raving all in the face of the players. So
Exactly.
Jason Garrett, I know he probably clapped out there. He probably was clapping out there, but Jason Garrett, just utilize and then sync and then install the stare into your coaching resume. That probably will help too. Just stare
I
at
don't know if that's gonna help no Garrett right now. All I know is, man, you just got to win this game, regroup,
right.
and get these boys to play. That's the biggest thing that we need to do. We need to get this victory because, like I said, the 3-game losing streak. This is a huge game. NFC, another NFC game, NFC East game, and it's another big game. Every game really is a big game, especially for the Cowboys, because as I said before, every team that plays us brings their best game. Everybody wants to beat the Cowboys, and that's what our team needs to make sure that they understand that we are going to get everybody's best. We may have a downtrodden team; they will play lights out against us. So now you have to be even more keen and more meticulous on the little things because it's not if you don't do those little things in the game, those mistakes happen, and then guess what? You lose. So Cowboys, smart football is the word of the day.
Yes, indeed, man. I really appreciate you, James, and happy birthday again to you all, and happy birthday to anybody that's born in
Appreciate
this
you,
time
dog. Love you
frame.
for life.
Appreciate
Yes,
you, man.
yes.
Love you
Libra
too,
gang,
man.
Libra gang, Libra gang, gang.
So you're in company of Jerry Jones and
Jerry Jones, Lil Wayne,
Lil
Snoop
Wayne.
Dogg, Eminem.
Wow.
I think Cardi B. There's a lot of Libras out
Stephen
there.
A. Smith. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
Lord,
Yeah.
wow. Usher.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of Libras out there, and Libra gang. My guy Robert Cherry, he's a Libra gang.
Yes, indeed, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. That's been all our times. Don't forget to just subscribe, man, to Cowboys Experience. We're close. Our main goal, our major goal, is to get to 10,000 subscribers and followers on Facebook. And we are right at 7,000. Look, we know that there's 3,000 other fans that's out here. Please, please share, follow, hit that notification bell. We go on at different various times. It's a team of us. So we would love to see y'all beautiful faces, especially out there at the events and things like that. Come on out and subscribe. That's been my time.
Yes.
I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute. Go ahead. Go tell them people where they follow you at too, man.
Oh, I'm just saying, hey, check us out, Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James. You see us on Facebook, Silver and Blue Nation, on our YouTube page. Check us out. But you know what? We love the Cowboys experience. We're going to be back down there. I'm going to be back down there soon for another game. So hopefully we'll be seeing y'all, brought to you by Barry once again. So like I said, if you're trying to get to these games, please get in our inboxes, talk to us. They have Facebook. You can actually reach out to their actual homepage, Cowboys Experience, www.com, Cowboys Experience. So please find out. And let's just try to, get this dub and, let's just stay positive.
That's positive. Salute. We out.